I'm Brant. He's Chris. We put on a show you just can't miss. He says cowabunga. I say yo Joe. Welcome to the Chris and Brant show. Gotta catch 'em all.
Knew it! Knew if I wore this hat, he was gonna do that.
That felt good, man. I missed that. I needed that.
Everybody else did too. Everybody was asking about it, and it's finally here. Welcome everybody back to the Chris and Brant show. We got some updates for this show for you guys. Brant's looking all over the place. We got some SoundCloud updates, some Zone 4 updates, and then we'll give you guys the schedule for what's going to be going on with the Chris and Brant show, outside the Chris and Brant show, other shows that Brant and I are doing, and then we'll get into some other things that we wanted to talk about.
Yep.
So, first and foremost, Brant, feels so good to be back
Yeah, it's okay.
doing this.
It's okay. No, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Let's have some fun.
Yes, but first let's get some business out of the way.
Business.
Some business.
Down to some
Do you want to tell everybody about what we're doing with, we'll talk about all of our shows, but first and foremost, let's talk about Hit Points.
Hit Points. Hit Points are gaming podcasts for anybody that does not know. It's been a while since we did an episode, and we kind of talked about it. We wanted to do like this big year ender thing, but after talking about it and looking at both our schedules and everything, we decided that for now, Hit Points is going on hiatus until we figure out exactly what we want to do with it, and we may revisit it at a later date. It may transform into something else. We don't know. In the meantime, any gaming stuff will come up either on the live show or on Chris and Brant or morning stream, whatever. We'll just talk about random stuff. But we probably will do a special episode like around E3 and do that. So, and expansion packs on the Zone 4 channel. If there's any kind of footage we want to, talk over or anything like that, we'll still do those from time.
Absolutely, and there's another thing Brant and I are working on for Zone 4 at a tentative, not telling you guys anything because it's a tentative long time from now possibly date, or maybe I'm just wrong, but either way, we're not talking about it right now. But basically, that's what we're doing. We're taking Hall of Toys and Hit Points, and we're kind of folding it into the stuff that we always do, which is, once again, the Chris and Brant show. There's also the morning stream, which I've done. I did the first episode. We'll talk about the morning stream in a little bit. And just any other type of stream. Really quickly, though, I do want to mention... Actually, let's talk about the other shows, because everything else kind of folds into one another. You guys already know Brant and I do 2 episodes a week of 123 Podcast, which is strictly wrestling. We do Raw first, which comes out on Friday. And then we do NXT, which comes out on Sunday, Monday, really depending on recording time and upload. If we record it early, obviously we'll want to put it out for you guys early. But there are some weeks where we have to record a day later. So Monday is the latest, let's put it that way, for NXT. Yeah. Dark Avenger Live, which is the show I do. If Brant's ever free on Fridays, he knows he's more than welcome to pop on. I never stop him. I always send him the link. If anything, he's like, stop sending me this goddamn link. I don't want it. Stop it. Dan might be making a reappearance very soon on Dark Avenger Live. He did mention that. Speaking of Dan, at some point, him and I are going to sit down and really talk about what we want to do. It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's a Podcast, because we sure as hell are not covering Superman right now. So we're either going to hammer out an idea for It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's a Podcast, which really it's called It's a Podcast, or that might take a bit of a hiatus until Dan and I figure it out, because that's going to be Dan and I's show. Wildcard is in production. I do have a crew. Unfortunately, Brant is not part of that crew, but that's due to a heavy... There's a logo behind him. It's in red and orange and yellow, and it takes up a lot of work time. So, yeah, I did approach Brant, but Brant very honorably declined, which I completely 100% understand. Obviously, it's understandable. Work comes before pleasure, and our work is our passion as well. Which, by the way, Brant, there is going to be something from Last Ember Press. We can talk about one thing that's coming from Last Ember Press's YouTube this coming month.
Yeah, you want me to go ahead and... Okay.
Go for it, yeah, and then I'll go back and do...
Yeah, all right, we've promised since last year we're going to do a live show, and things have been crazy. We have not been able to get it together, but this month there will be a Last Ember Press live show where we will give a few updates. We're going to finally give away that print that we that we said we were going to give away on one of these shows. I don't know which show it was. Was it live or was it CMB? I don't know.
It was Chris and Brant.
Okay. So we promised we were going to give away a print. We still have that. We're still going to do that. So be on the lookout for that. But we're going to give you some updates about some of the things to come in 2016. We're not going to give too much away, I think, at this stage because it's kind of early. But we do have a lot in the planning stages. So just stay tuned. Lots to come from Last Ember Press. And you can subscribe, like us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. My book update should be coming soon as well. I actually wanted to make sure of what I could and couldn't say, guys, so that's kind of why it's a little delayed, but it'll get up there just like outside the pages. Now, what else is there? I don't want to fold into SoundCloud yet. The morning stream, which is, again, kind of like the Chris and Brant show, but it isn't. As a matter of fact, we'll get more into this when we get into the scheduling and update, but the morning stream, it could be any topic thing. For example, the first morning stream of the year was me live streaming sunrise, the sun rising with the snow. It was a morning stream. I stayed in the comments for a while. We had great chats about wrestling and stuff, and that was it. It was a good way to bring the morning stream back, and I wanted to get a sunrise with the snow. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it with the blizzard, but at least I got it now, and it brought the morning stream back. FLI, which is another series. It's not going to be live all the time. It might be, especially because of the quality. But first look and impression, which I call Fly, that came out a couple of days ago. I did a first look and impression of Just Cause 3. Came out crisp, came out beautiful. I recorded at 6 in the morning. Am I freaking insane? I was up till 7 recording it. But we had a blast. A lot of people popped in, and a lot of you guys liked it. So I definitely will be doing more. And this is a positive sign for Frontline Gaming Zone, at least for the PlayStation 4 right now. We can stream directly to YouTube from our PlayStation 4 with this microphone. I actually was able to stream with this microphone, which is even better. So that's another thing. And then there is going to be other random topics and discussion ones with me and Brant, but that we'll get into with the scheduling and stuff like that. So now I can fold into SoundCloud, which Chris and Brant Show will be a part of SoundCloud. This episode is a month early, but we wanted to bring the show back. So starting next month on the 3rd, which we'll get into the scheduling on why it's on next month on the 3rd, we will start numbering the episodes from 1 on, and from 1 on, it will also be, the audio will be available on SoundCloud and iTunes. Yep. I'm going to be putting, because basically all the shows are me and Brant except for 1 or 2. 1, 2, 3 podcast, Chris and Brant Show, any extra shows that Brant and I do that are somehow connected, whether it's just a discussion or not, will end up on SoundCloud. Morning stream, if it's audio, if it's gameplay, obviously it wouldn't make sense to put it on there. But if it's like talking, those will end up on there. It's a Bird, It's Playing, It's a Podcast. Once Dan and I figured that out, will end up on there. The live shows will not be on there, nor will the first look and impression, because obviously those are more video related. And I will be starting a SoundCloud exclusive podcast called The Dark Avenger Podcast, which will be, so far it's looking to be bi-weekly, might turn into a weekly. I'm not sure. It really depends on time, recording, and everything else. But if I can do it weekly, I'll be doing it weekly. Did I leave any podcasts I do on here out, Brant? Don't think so. I think that's all we do, right? Oh, Anime Weekly.
Oh, yeah.
Anime Weekly as well, and that's also part of the Zone 4 podcast network now. That's something Jeremy and I do on a weekly basis. The audio from that will also move over to SoundCloud. And I'm also looking to do exclusive content for all the shows, especially if Brant is free. Brant and I have done several podcasts, from Related Recap all the way to where we're at now with Chris and Brant Show. So I'm sure we'll do some exclusive, not long content, but maybe 5 to 10 minute, short contents here, there, and everywhere, either to add on to the show as a pre or a post, or just its own file. But there will be exclusive stuff on SoundCloud, and as you guys can see, there's exclusive stuff right here on YouTube already, which is all the video stuff you guys are seeing. I was asked a question, and the best person to answer this is Brant, because I not that I answered it wrong, but I believe he could answer it the best. I was asked, I believe it was by DN, I'm not sure, but I mentioned going to SoundCloud and moving all of our shows there, and he asked if I was, he said he was sorry to see that I was separating from Zone 4, and I said that wasn't the case. Do you want to, you could explain it better, Brant.
Okay. So basically, and I know it's confusing because Zone 4 has shows like on 3 different YouTube channels and iTunes and all this stuff. Basically, it's kind of like a partnership between Chris's channel and Zone 4. It's almost, I don't know what the right term is, but basically, even though there are shows on Chris's SoundCloud or on Chris's YouTube channel, they're still part of the larger Zone 4 network, and they're still on the Zone 4 podcast website. So if you guys go to zone4podcast.com, you'll find all those, except for Anime Weekly, which I just have not put up there yet, but it will be up there. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, there's not much to explain there. It's just, it's an extension of Zone 4 in a different place because, you know, it's Chris's channel. It's affiliated with us, but you already had, I'm saying he like you're not even here. You already have your Dark Avenger Nation, your fan base and everything. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you and I are very good friends. And I had this podcast thing going on, and so we just started kind of spreading out the content a little bit. The Zone 4 YouTube channel is still building up. That's why I took the main show to Frontline for a while. We put one of them on Frontline Gaming Zone for a while. But even the main Zone 4 show is not just on Zone 4. It's on Stitcher. It's on iTunes. It's on
Comics Podcast
Network. There's for a while, it was on a couple of other websites. It was on an online radio site. You know, it's just, we're trying to maximize our audience and using all the avenues at our disposal. So that's basically the, you know, long explanation, which is not very long. It's pretty simple when you think about it. So.
Do you want to talk about since it was a very short one, do you want to also talk about this show's scheduling and updates for it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just go ahead and talk about scheduling for some of the other shows as well.
Yeah.
You guys already know Airship 27 is monthly. There will actually be a new episode of that tomorrow, as you guys are listening to this tomorrow, Friday.
On Zone 4 Podcast.
On zone4podcast.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the Chris and Brant show is going to, from this point forward, be every third Thursday. So every third Thursday, you guys can look for a new episode, and that's why the next episode is on March 3rd instead of like 2 weeks from now or whatever. So
exactly.
just mark your calendars. It'll be March 3rd, and then the one after that will be like March 24th. So and
I'm sure we'll catch April. So some months you guys get lucky and you get 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not exactly just once a month. It's, you know, it's a little. Every other week was a little bit too packed for us with all the other stuff we have going on, but we didn't want to go a whole month, so we kind of compromised in the middle and 3 weeks. So
right.
We'll see how that works, and you know, you can look for that on SoundCloud as of next episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you guys, you know, want to see more of it, I mean, obviously right now we're very busy, but let your voice be heard. Say, you know, I really enjoy this show. If you guys ever have the chance to do more episodes or can make it every other week, I'd love to see that. And then once our schedules open up, which, you know, towards the middle and end of the year, sometimes things free up. You know, time is a little bit more open. Maybe for a time, I'm not saying, you know, permanent, but for a time, we'll switch the show frequency to every other week. If you guys like seeing it every other week, if you're fine every 3 weeks, that's great. We're fine with that too. Because, for example, let's say something happens right after this show. We filmed it. It's Thursday. It's uploaded. But something happens, and Brant and I want to talk about it. The monthly, the previews come out, let's say, and we've done this before on a Chris and Brant show. Well, there's 2 avenues we could travel with that. Number 1 is the morning stream. The morning stream has no schedule. It could be any morning. It could be any type. It could be a live show, which I've done a live stream of Snow, or it could be a pre-recorded show like what we're doing right now. It depends. So it could go under the title Morning Stream. Or in the case of Batman Bad Blood, which I did get, and Brant has as well, maybe we'll do just a specific topic video where it's like the Chris and Brant show, except it's not. It's the topic. For example, if we do Batman Bad Blood, the name of the video will be Batman Bad Blood Review. period. It'll be in the style of the Chris and Brant show. It'll be Brant and I, together just the way we are now, either side by side doing it through Skype, which I do like the quality better here, so most of the time it probably will be, or a live show if it's something that we want to discuss with all of you guys. Usually I save the live shows for when I want your guys' feedback the most. I use the live shows now mostly for comments. So when we're doing reviews or talking and discussing stuff like Batman Bad Blood, for the quality of the video purposes, I believe that recording it like this is better, and then answering you guys in the comments.
Right.
Live shows and stuff like that are more for when we want to come on and talk directly to you guys, and most of the time when it's impromptu, a lot of people don't know about it, and we still don't fall under what we want with a live show. So that's what will happen. There's a definite every 3-week Chris and Brant show. Anything that falls in between will either be a topic video or a morning stream.
And just to elaborate on a couple of things real quick. First, Zone 4, the main show,
yes,
will be returning next week, and it is going to remain monthly. Yeah, monthly, right?
Yeah, monthly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's gonna be a monthly show, and it's the same cast you guys have heard on it before is going to be the cast. We're going to do video and audio version just like we had started to do. So be on the lookout for that. And there was one other thing I was going to mention. Oh yeah, Hall of Toys. Hall of Toys, we've kind of talked about it here and there. It is effectively shelved after we do the 25th episode, which will either be after Toy Fair or after San Diego Comic-Con, depending on schedules and how much there is to talk about.
Yeah.
And if you guys want any more elaboration on the Zone 4 scheduling and all that maybe we didn't explain thoroughly here, I did post an update on the Zone 4 website a couple of days ago.
You can post a link in the Brant will post a link in the
exactly.
update. There you go.
So there's an update there, and you can read all about it. That's all I wanted to add. Sorry.
No, that's everything. I want to make sure we covered. Yeah, we got Last Ember Press's live show, all the live shows on this channel. Zone 4, I'm happy Zone 4 is back. We didn't get any Zone 4 in January. It was missed for sure.
Yeah.
So,
looking forward to getting the band back together.
Hell yeah! Get the band, shine up the band, get the foot ready. We're gonna sweet chin music. A few people happen.
Wow. Oh no, it's fine. I'm gonna step away just for a second to plug the laptop up.
Go for it. Don't die. No, hurry up. Run, Brant. So yeah, what'll happen with the Hall of Toy stuff after episode 25? Again, it's gonna fold into the Chris and Brant show, the morning stream, and Brant's camera went off. I think.
Huh?
Your camera went off.
Oh, that's weird. Hi, guys.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I didn't even realize that. I did not turn it off. That's funny.
So all I mentioned was we're folding the toys into the Chris and Brant show morning stream, etc., after the 25th episode.
Absolutely.
One little other.
Oh.
Nope. You first. I've been talking. I need a break. I'm going to grab my coffee while you say it.
Okay, cool. There are actually a couple of other shows coming to the Zone 4 network.
Go for it.
I don't want to talk about them yet because they're not solidified. They're not on the schedule yet. But Gordon will possibly be doing a new podcast. And it's actually a pretty cool concept. We'll talk more about that when I have more to report on it. And there's some other stuff we're talking about coming to the channel too, and we're going to start building up the Zone 4 YouTube channel as well as yours. So that's all.
Justice League Gods and Monsters. A lot of people ask me about that. I noticed something, and I mentioned this to Brant right before we started recording. We never missed since Batman. Batman, Son of Batman. We've been on top of every single Batman with Damian movie, and this continues Damian and Bruce's journey, and unfortunately, so does Titans versus Justice League versus Teen Titans, so that's the next one, I guess, that we're going to be covering. But we want to make sure we cover everything Batman and Damian related, so we will be covering Bad Blood first. Brant already watched Gods and Monsters. I still have to, so it's really falling more on me to finish watching start and finish watching the movie. So as soon as I watch it, after we do Bad Blood, because I want to watch Bad Blood obviously now first, we will cover Gods and Monsters. It might be a month or so, especially with other movies coming out and other things coming out. It might be a little bit, but we will get to it. at some point.
Absolutely.
All right, now, we don't want this video to only be
Updates, right.
and stuff like that, so we do have a couple of pieces of news. One thing was talked about on Frontline Live this past week, which I unfortunately wasn't able to be there. I was out for the night. First thing is, I noticed this when I was watching my good friend Nerdy Vision's haul. Deadpool issue number 7 once again hits a $9.99 price tag. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. I don't even think this is the third time. I believe this is the 4th time they've done this, and it's only in the Deadpool books. They did it for the wedding. They did it for the final issue. They did it for a couple of issues after that, and now they did it for issue 7 because it's 25 years of Deadpool. And ironically, this week the movie comes out as well.
Of course. They couldn't have planned that better.
No. I'm pissed off because this is Marvel, who's already doubling up our books, tripling up certain books, and now they have the nerve to charge $10. And I love how Nerdy Vision said they didn't even make a spine for this $10 book. It's stapled.
Yeah.
What do you think about it? I think it's crazy.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. It's the worst side of comics, honestly. It's in this in the 90s boom when everybody was buying it and selling millions of copies and everything, it made a little bit more sense because they were actually worth something and you could resell them. Of course, it almost killed the entire industry, so that's not really a good thing. But now it makes no sense at all. It's just a way to make a quick buck to capitalize on those diehard fans. I hate that aspect of comics. I really do.
I hate that. And, the problem is, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll ask in a minute.
The only thing that bugs me is, I can't blame them, because if it was Superman, I'd be doing it because I'm a diehard. I'm one of those people that, regardless what happens or what not, I'll buy a Superman comic, even though he's shooting green kryptonite lasers out of his eye. If God forbid they do that. So there are people that'll buy it. And you know what? You sell 10 copies, that's $100.
Yeah.
Even at a 15% off. Comic shops have to buy it at sale at the charge price. So every 10 issues is $100. Unless shops get a discount, they might
get a discount. Yeah,
I'm sure they do, but but then obviously the sales show, and who wins? Marvel.
Oh, of course.
And they'll want to do it again. Now, what were you gonna ask?
Did you get it? That's the question.
No, I didn't get it.
You didn't get it. Did your brother get it?
He got it digitally, so I guess it counts.
Okay, I got it, but I didn't pay $10 for it. So
we got the 15% off also. So
I got it for $5.99.
Oh no, ours $8.78 something.
Yeah, I got it for $5.99 through DCBS. So
where we're switching to very soon.
Yeah. I would not pay $10 for it. I'm surprised I paid that much. It's just because the main reason is because I've been enjoying the Deadpool book.
And you don't even notice because they sneak it in. They sneak that $10 one in, and you buy it, and you're like, gee, I'm paying a lot of money this week for comics. And then when you get the books and you look at the cover, you're like, I paid $10 for this book.
Yeah.
They trick you. You got to look at the prices, guys. Look at them.
Yeah.
Be very cautious. Oh, man. That pissed me off. And I found out about it tonight. That's what's really hilarious.
Oh, really?
When I saw Nerdy Vision, or I think I'm saying it right. Nerdivision. I think he called himself Nerdivision, like television. So I could be wrong, but he showed the book and he's like, "I paid $10 for this book." I'm like, maybe it was a variant cover, and I looked at it. No, it's a $10 book. It's a legit $10 book on Midtown. I'm like, shh. Yeah. I can't. You can't get rid of that once you digitally buy it. So it is what it is, I guess, right?
Yeah, it is what it is, but it happens too often, like you said. If it really was just a special anniversary thing and it only happened every once in a blue moon, but even DC did it with the Bat books for a while. It was like every third month or something. It was like an $8.99 issue or something. You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the specials.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at least theirs was like 70, 80 pages though. This is just like. It's not, right? It might be oversized, but...
Yeah, that's it. I mean, look at the Batman Dark Knight Returns hardcovers. They're $11. $2 more. It's a hardcover, and they make that mini comic that comes in the book full size, so it's double comic basically.
Yeah, it's crazy. Makes no sense. It makes sense for their financial department, I guess. But.
Oh, of course, Marvel has to make them dollar billio.
All right, Teddy Long.
But I'm gonna switch over now to DC real quick. I'm gonna save that annoying thing for last.
Okay.
And I want your opinion first. We talked about this on Comic Frontline, so I won't go into a huge extent, but we've had time to really digest this subject. So I wanted to know how your updated feeling is about DC Comics Rebirth.
Now, see, I still don't have all the facts or all the details that they've released. So
yeah, we still don't, right?
Yeah, well, you update me on what you know, and then I'll give you my opinion.
All I know right now were the rumors. So again, it's not really true updates like that. Superman and Batman are going to be doubling up.
Right.
Oh yeah, you weren't on the show. That's right. You weren't on that front line,
Right.
so I can mention that. Batman, Superman's doubling up. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Superman, both are being canceled, and one book called Trinity for the three of them is going to happen.
Yeah.
Grayson is rumored to be being canceled. Starfire canceled. Black Canary canceled. Starfire is going to go to Teen Titans as the leader. Grayson, obviously, to go back to Nightwing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember everything. You'd have to go on CBR. They had a list of things.
Well, I mean that's good enough to go on, I think.
First, and Man of Steel. There's Man of Steel and the Superman as a announced ongoing.
Yeah, the problem is we don't know yet if it's like a full-on reboot, if it's like a combination of old and new like we think, or if it's just basically renumbering like Marvel does, a soft reboot, if you will. So without knowing that fact, it's kind of hard to give an opinion. But based on what we're hearing and the rumors and all that, the Superman and Batman going bi-monthly or bi-weekly, whatever you call it, twice a month, that is a Marvel thing, and I hate it. I hate
Marvel made it popular.
I hate the double shipping. It gets so annoying because we were going through our order tonight for DCBS for April, and it was like, oh, we got to get 2 issues of this and 2 issues of that, and it's like it becomes too much, and then you start cutting those kind of books even though you really want them, and that's what worries me about that. I don't want to see that become a trend.
Well, you don't buy Superman. I think the only book that it truly would impact would be Batman for you.
But I have been buying Superman because I've been buying it for a few issues now, and I'm buying it through Savage Dawn, and then I'm not picking it up after Savage Dawn until.
I wonder why.
Yeah, until the reboot or whatever happens after the 52nd issue. Once we see what happens, what's going to happen in May, which we should find out like next week or so, right?
I have a feeling they're gonna remember what they did when the New 52 happened. Like they didn't make any real announcements, and they kind of left you guessing. Like they gave you titles, they didn't give you pictures or anything. They kind of just gave you what it's going to be about, and then later on they slowly divulge. Like, oh, look at the new costumes. Here are the covers for the New 52.
Yeah.
I feel like they might do that. They might keep it a mystery a little longer if they can, especially because New York Comic Con Special Edition has been canceled. Which actually wouldn't matter because it's in June.
Yeah. I think, May solicits are the next ones to come up, right? And is it May or June when all this is supposed to happen?
June.
Okay.
June, a few issues are going to get an issue 0 to introduce the new issues. Yeah. And some of them are just going to, or was it July they're starting? No, May. Yeah, no, we will know in May because some issues are getting issue 0s in May.
Okay. So May solicits, like I said, should be out like next week, I would think. So we'll find out some stuff there. They might announce some stuff at C2E2.
When is C2E2?
It's either March or April. I can't remember which.
That sounds sound. That actually sounds like a thing, yeah.
Yeah. But, if it definitely needs something. We talked about that. DC needs a shot in the arm. They need a little bit of restructuring. So I'm all for that.
A reboot or a fix-up? I'm personally okay with a fix-up at this point.
I'm okay with anything that improves the stories,
So
but
you don't care if it's new or old.
I would prefer it be this hybrid, like we've talked about, like post-crisis, like that kind of thing, like we're seeing in Titan's Hunt. Some kind of, you know, regaining all these old memories from this past world and kind of meshing together. I would prefer that just because that satisfies old and new fans alike.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without, you know, you don't have to dive so much into the convoluted history. Just give enough so that, you know, old fans can have their familiar characters back and new fans can still be familiar with the characters that they've come to know over the past 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, that's what I would prefer, and I think that's what a lot of us would prefer. But I would be okay if they would just improve some of the key books that I want to enjoy but don't.
I
And
agree.
yeah,
No, and you said and.
well, no, I mean that's pretty much it. It's just, you know, I miss certain elements of the Premium 52, but I've come to accept that this is the new status quo if that's what we're going to get. Begrudgingly, yes, but you know, if that's what we're going to get, and that's all the only versions we're going to get of these characters, then I have to live with it. I just want them to be interesting, compelling stories by uh, top creators that can tell stories with those characters. I want to be able to pick up Flash and enjoy it. I want to be able to, yeah, any book that you know, any character that I like, I want to be able to pick it up and actually enjoy it. And that's very rare in DC right now for me.
Is it because of the story though, or is it because of the way they're? Because I think I was talking to Dan about it, and it's really funny because the way he said it made me really think, and it's true. In Superman, they
Mm-hmm.
focus a lot on Krypton and a lot on the Kryptonian stuff.
Yeah,
In Flash, they focus on the Speed Force.
yeah.
In Wonder Woman, they focus a lot on the Greek mythology, unless it's a filler-esque story.
Mm-hmm.
In Batman, they focus more on Batman doing Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not getting good stories. People are trying to tell stuff about other things that we should move away from, like Flash, the Speed Force and Krypton, and we should focus on the characters and them being on Earth. Dealing with their good stories without having to delve into their mythoses.
Okay. That's a fair question. I think for me, the importance is the representation of the character themselves. Um, I say the story, that what I really mean is the writing. I feel like
Right.
certain writers can write certain characters really well. On the opposite side of that, certain writers cannot write certain characters very well. They don't. There's either not that connection, or they just are not telling the right story with that character. They don't get the total essence of the character, and they can't deliver that.
Right.
And it happens from time to time. That's just the name of the game. You get some good, some bad, but it seems like for a long time they've been married to certain creators for certain titles that don't mesh for a large majority of fans.
And also editorial, I feel like, has too much of a hand in.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that too. So yeah, I would like to see less of that and more creativity and more writers really understanding the character and understanding how the readers connect to those characters.
I
If
agree.
that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense because that's how I feel. I mean, personally, Superman could have been a lot better. It really
Yeah.
could have been a lot better. They just did not know how to start him,
Yeah.
and then they didn't know how to finish him because, honestly, the supernova superpower sucked. This new kryptonite thing sucks. The way he was introduced sucks, and I don't care if you want to say, well, it harkens back to when he was first created. Yes and no. Yes, the Kents are dead again. People who grew up in the age that I did in comic books, we had the Kents, and we liked the Kents, and I feel the Kents played a very significant role in Clark's life. After Superman Returns came out, I knew, and Smallville killed Jonathan Kent, I knew in the comic books it reflected anything they did in TV and movies, and I knew to expect at some point Jonathan Kent to be killed. And unfortunately they did it, and they changed Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent after Smallville came out to the way they looked on Smallville, and they broke away from the main original mold they had for Jonathan and Martha Kent in 1986. I thought they were unique. They didn't look like any type of actor. They didn't have to look like any a specific type of actor. They were themselves. Jonathan Kent was a not short. He was a 5'9" pudgy farmer, and Martha Kent had that like Aunt May look to her. They were older, but they were still spry.
More like Lois and Clark.
Exactly. What do I want? Honestly, at this point with DC Comics, I want a mesh of the two, whether it be, because they've already started this, Brent, with the, this book takes place in this place, this book takes place in that place. If they're going to keep that convoluted bullcrap,
yeah,
at least connect it in a way where, okay, this stuff happens in the new DCU, and this stuff happens in the pre-Flashpoint DC universe where the history is. So this way you get people like yourself and Mike Spiderslayer who jumped into DC at the New 52 to still enjoy that universe, to still have a connection, and books that are connected in that universe, kind of like the Ultimate Spider-Man and X-Men.
I will correct you on that. I actually jumped in a few years before the New 52.
Okay, but you were enjoying the New 52 is what I mean, mostly.
I was enjoying elements of it. I was enjoying mainly the stuff that didn't change that much, like Batman and Green Lantern at first.
Okay, so the unchanged stuff you were enjoying.
Yeah, for the most part, I think.
So what I'm saying is, though, have continuity, but within books. The new DCU, put it over here in this pile. And if something happens in new DCU Green Lantern, it affects all of new DCU. You have old DCU over here. Anything that happens in Flash in the old DCU affects all of the old DCU. You know what I mean? So at least you have two separate Earths dealing with whatever. If you want to have a hybrid, like what you're saying, where it's a mixture of everything, take aspects from the earlier age. You don't want to go all the way back to 1938. And Superman doesn't need to be edgy because guess what? You're doing a worse job now than you claim you were doing before you changed Superman to being more edgy and dark. Every character does not have to be freaking Batman, okay?
Yeah, I think that was the thing. Superman was just not selling well for them, and they wanted some kind of change. But it was also because of the whole lawsuits and all that. There was a lot of reasons for this whole reboot in the beginning. I had a point. Yeah, I forget it. Go ahead.
They won. They did. It was something about the double, like if you're gonna do old DCU and new DCU thing.
I know what I was gonna say. I don't know about having them on separate Earths and telling the stories in each Earth going on, because I worry that the same thing would happen that happened with the Ultimate Universe, that eventually 10
one
years
would die.
Well, not just one would die, but 10 years from now, that second universe, being the New 52 in this case, would be as convoluted as the original universe, and then you've got two very convoluted continuities that you have to follow. In order to do that, you have to eventually kill one, like they did the Ultimate Universe. Because it becomes way too confusing when you have entire lines of books from two different Earths. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to all that. I think it comes down to better storytelling through and through.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would have lived with the costume and the Superman not married to Lois if they would have given him a good origin story and a good reason, and less of this is totally... When I read the first Superman story arcs, I was like, this is so not Superman.
Yeah.
And the fact is DC knows it, because if DC didn't know it, they would not have brought Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
They would not have made that comic series, because they would have been... what's the word I'm looking for? They would have been... strong. They would have stood strong on the point that their Superman was better. If they felt their Superman was 100% perfect, why bring in the pre-New 52 pre-New 52 Superman? Why?
Yeah.
Why bring in Parallax Green Lantern if you're happy that you erased all that in Green Lantern's past? Because you know you done screwed up. Because you know you screwed up with Superman as well. That's why you brought Lois and Clark back. You didn't, unless they're doing it, and this would be like a real big middle finger, unless they're doing it to give the middle finger to all the old readers and basically send all of those things, all that history away again after Rebirth.
And that is possible. They could be doing that. Adversely, they could, like you said, realize they made a mistake and are trying to fix it now and trying to scramble. And undoubtedly, they'll probably claim that was the plan all along, which I think we know better.
Of course. I mean, come on. They had a backdoor if New 52 failed, which it didn't, unfortunately. It started to fail at the issue 10s and 11s, I'd like to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they started doing those, like when we got about a year into the New 52 and things started getting a little crazy, I think that's when a lot of fans started falling off the most,
Yeah,
I would say. And that's when it was too late because their back door was already gone. And then every event. Now, how would you feel if you're a comic company and then every event you do, whether it be Forever Evil, Future's End, World's End, well, mostly Future's End, Convergence. How would you feel if you're a comic company and every single time you do an event, hundreds of fans are saying this is going to be the moment where DC goes back to their old universe? How would you feel if people are predicting, like you're making this awesome event and it's going to involve your new, except Convergence, which obviously we know involved the entirety of their legacies and whatever.
Right.
But like Forever Evil, how would you feel if this is the first big event for our new universe, but everybody's predicting this is where your old universe is going to come through. Instead of rooting for the new universe, they're rooting for the old universe to find its way out.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. It's disheartening, realizing that, hey, this is not. I mean, and granted, they probably knew going in that it was going to take a few years for them to, gain people's, interest, and that's probably why they didn't do events those first few years, to try to get people used to this new environment and everything. And I would say this too. Hats off for them trying something different,
Absolutely,
something
yeah.
that drastic and that unique. I do applaud them for that, but the way they went about it, and completely changing characters at their core, is what a lot of us had a problem with. Like you mentioned, Superman, and there were other characters too, and I don't know.
They ruined a lot of characters, like Tim Drake. Like I read
Yeah,
his introduction, they ruined him. They said he was never a Robin. He became Red Robin. That ruins so many great story arcs of Tim Drake as Robin. That erases all of the Robin ongoing series that I got that started back in 1980 something. I'm looking at it and I can't see it, but it ruins all of Tim Drake's Robin run. That those 180 plus issues never happened. He went straight to being Red Robin.
yeah.
So
Which makes me sad because he's my favorite Robin.
yeah, he was one of my favorite. Well, I like Dick as Nightwing, so I can't say Dick is my favorite Robin because I love him as Nightwing. So yeah, I agree. But if we had to choose with Dick involved, Dick would be my favorite. But Tim was my favorite after Dick because Jason didn't work. Jason works great as Red Hood. If they redid the story where Jason went straight to being Red Hood instead of Robin, I could have lived with that.
Mm.
But obviously they couldn't because that was a dramatic thing that happened that caused Red Hood. Yet shooting Barbara Gordon and keeping her paralyzed for 20 years, that was okay to undo, apparently. Go figure. I'm not complaining. I liked Barbara Gordon as Batgirl until I don't know what the hell they did to her, but they basically Gail Simone left the book. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I feel like they're trying hard to be so different, and again, I applaud them for trying things, but it's like it's going so far against what people want.
Mm-hmm.
It baffles my mind. If you want to create a character that's like that, create a new character that's like that. Don't change the core essence of a character.
I agree. And poor Superboy. I think Superboy got the worst treatment. Connor basically got everything he went through. The whole Superboy series, Young Justice, moved into teen. All of that rich history and the character building over 28, or no, well, back then it was like 25 plus years taken away in an instant.
Yeah.
I feel really bad about Connor. That was the most disheartening because Tim came back sort of the way he was. Connor was born again in the New 52.
Yeah.
So that's my mini rant. Is there anything else you would like to talk about with Rebirth?
No, at this point it's kind of a wait and see because all we're getting is rumors and we got to wait on details before we know exactly what's going to happen. I can't really form more of an opinion than that. So.
I will make this statement though. If it's just the same universe again, I think either a lot of books I'm going to be doing digitally because I'm not going to take up space in my house for it anymore, or worse off, I probably won't be buying as much. I'll probably just be buying Superman will always be physical. I think that'll be the only book I buy from DC, and I'll try to review it. It really just depends how bad they make him, or remake him, or if they keep him the same. But for the most part, I think I will go back to only buying Superman books, and maybe one Justice League book, whichever, or maybe Justice League and Justice League of America, and that would be it. Green Lantern would either be digital or off. I know they're doing Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps as well, so maybe I'll get that digitally or not at all. I don't know, but
It's going to depend on the creators on them too, I think.
yeah, I think so. And with Marvel, I'm already dropping stuff. I've already dropped almost everything Avengers.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about All New, All Different. Um, Uncanny, I actually kind of enjoy a little bit, and I think I did drop New Avengers.
So there you go.
So
So you've got one on the fence and one you're enjoying. That's like me and X-Men. I enjoy Extraordinary. That's it.
I like All New.
Oh, and all new. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I have two. All new X-Men. That's right. Thank you. I completely forgot about that for a moment. So that leads us to our last wonderful statement, which actually happened ironically after my live show went off this last Friday. And Zack Snyder made the very bold announcement in a interview with a comic book website that people keep telling him he changed Superman. And his quote here, people who know Superman's origin, the original canon, would know I did not change Superman. I'm sorry. I didn't know in the original canon that Jonathan Kent died in a tornado. I also didn't know in the canon that Krypton was so focused on. I also didn't know in the canon that Jor-El got stabbed by Zod. I didn't know Zod existed in the canon story. I didn't know that Laura died alone in her bedroom and Kal-El left Krypton days before its destruction instead of at the moment of its destruction. I did not know Kal-El had the codex to all of Krypton in his DNA. I did not know that Clark snapped Zod's neck in the canon story. I didn't know Superman killed in the canon stories. Need I say more? Do I have to really keep going? Do you get what I'm saying? I didn't even know that Superman let 1 million people die in a epic fight between two Kryptonians in Metropolis. Brant, maybe I was dead during the Golden Age. Maybe I wasn't born yet during the Golden Age, but maybe these books are wrong. Maybe these books omitted like the biggest story in history, or maybe Zack Snyder's been smoking a little bit too much with Grant Morrison.
Dude.
Oh.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I said, oh, you better say something. Because you're the one that's not, that's the impartial one.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. And I made this statement on Frontline Live, and I'm going to stand by it, that at this point, I'm just going to wait and see. I really have no opinion on this. I disagree with the statement,
Oh, it has nothing to do with the movies, Brant. No, I'm not.
I know. I'm just saying. I do disagree with the statement that he made. There's no way that is. Okay, there are elements of Man of Steel that probably is traditional canon.
Yes, elements.
Yeah, elements. But to make that kind of bold statement that this is the true Superman or whatever, I don't think that's accurate at all. But at this point, I'm so tired of all of it. The movie's gonna be out soon. Yeah, I just want it to get here, and then I'll form my opinions then. You know what I mean?
I'm tired of the controversy with this movie. Ever since Man of Steel, all you hear is the controversy between the neck snapping, between the Jonathan Kent death, and Jonathan Kent never told Clark he should have let people die either. FYI, even after they didn't even introduce the Kents in the canon, but later on they did in Superboy, and there that they would never tell Clark to kill or to allow people to die to save a secret.
I think you need to watch the movie, because I don't think that's exactly what was meant.
Well, I'm going over the bullet points that certain people said.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I don't think that's what. I think a lot of people mistook that particular scene.
Yeah, because he did say maybe. He didn't say definitely. He said, like Clark said, what should I have done? Let them die? And he's like, maybe.
I think he was trying to get Clark to think for himself and figure it out for himself.
Yeah.
That was my take on it. I could be wrong. People can disagree.
I don't know. I feel like I went into this movie with such a negative outlook on it already that it's hard for me to really look at it objectively at times.
Yeah.
So it could very well be, but there were so many bad things about that movie. There were some good things, but there were so many wrong things. Look, I don't even see. This is why when it comes to me and movies and TV, I have such a hard time, and why I work so well in anime. Anime has nothing to do with nothing. And one thing I've got to give kudos to Japan on, if it's in the manga, they don't change it. They put exactly what's in the manga. They skip stuff, they cut stuff off, or they put it in specials, but they rarely change something. They'll add filler to something, but they never change the main plot of a story. I've noticed that with One Punch Man because I've been reading the mangas. They took stuff out. They did take stuff out, and some stuff did make it to a special, and some stuff didn't. But they didn't change the outline of the story arc at all. What happened in the manga happened in the anime as far as the big picture.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know. It's Hollywood, man, and I just give up on Hollywood. I give up on Hollywood. I really...
I mean...
It's hard. You can't really defend or protest it because it's hard.
Yeah, it's just, with... I don't know. I feel like, for me, and I know if you're a diehard fan of something, it's kind of harder to do that with, because I was the same way with G.I. Joe. I was really hard on that first movie.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah, well, that too. Thankfully, he died in the second one. Spoiler alert! But anyway, no, I feel like sometimes you do have to just kind of separate it and look at it as its own continuity, its own take on a franchise or a character or whatever. With a character as iconic as Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, etc., it's a little harder to do because you know that core essence, and I get that. I don't know. I enjoyed the movie, so I'm in a bit of a different camp than you are. So.
And I'm sure if I wasn't a Superman fan as deep as I am, I probably would have enjoyed it too, and I would have been like, people are complaining about a neck snap, oh well. Because I wouldn't be in that group of people that are Superman fans that know that is wrong. That's kind of like with Spider-Man. When they did Amazing Spider-Man, everybody was complaining. I'm like, I just didn't watch the movie. I didn't care what they did, honestly. It was whatever. I watched the Tobey Maguire ones. I lived through Spider-Man 3, okay? So, I'm sorry if they screw... But now they're doing it again, so...
I liked both versions, but whatever.
Second one. I never watched Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I saw aspects of Amazing Spider-Man 2. I was very much wanting to see Spider-Man 4. I was curious to see if Sam Raimi would have pulled himself out of the terrible threes, so to speak. Because so far, Marvel has not pulled off a good third movie. Iron Man 3, Spider-Man 3, X-Men, I don't know what the hell number they're on, but after number 2, things went to hell.
I
liked it. I have the 3 X-Men movies, plus I have First Class and Wolverine Origin.
Okay. I liked, man, I'm getting an echo again. I liked, there you go. First Class and, what was the one after that?
Age of Apocalypse?
No, that's the next one.
That's next. The thing with
Days of Future Past.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like those 2. Last Stand, the third one, but I like those 2.
Last Stand was a reason to kill a lot of people.
And they did.
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot. Except for Charles Xavier, who somehow survived just to die in few Days of Future Past. So.
There you go.
So that's this episode of the Chris and Brant Show. Brant, is there anything else you want to say? Because I feel like we've ranted for way too long on way too many different things.
Yeah, we did. We're almost at an hour. No, I don't think so. Comment Frontline will be on SoundCloud now.
Woo!
Actually, some of it already is. The first, like, 50 through 66 or something like that.
Hopefully Zone 4 will be on there very soon.
We'll see. We're talking about it. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything else I wanted to mention. I think we
Yeah, I
covered
think
everything.
yeah, we've been planning the show for a while, guys, and most of it was going to be updates. I literally just grabbed some of the newer stuff that came out to have something else to talk about other than updates because I didn't want you guys to have the first show as a update-esque show. We wanted to give you something entertaining. However, the next show is going to be on March 3rd. We will have some stuff to talk about there, hopefully, and we'll have updates on stuff in the comic book world and the gaming world, maybe. I mean, Brand has a PS4 now, so hopefully we'll have some stuff that we've either played individually or played together to talk about. We'll have some game news. Like I said, we're folding everything into the Chris and Brand show. So any gaming news we have now, we'll save it in a document somewhere to discuss on a Chris and Brand show. Unless it's breaking news, then again, it'll fall under one of those other two categories. And yeah, so we'll have a lot of stuff for you guys next time we talk. One thing actually I saw, I don't know if you saw it, Brent, did you see that PlayStation teased Crash Bandicoot for the third time now? There's a rumor that Crash Bandicoot might be coming out again, a new Crash Bandicoot game.
No, I did not see that.
It was trending on Facebook yesterday.
Cool.
So we have promise possibly for another Crash Bandicoot game.
Okay. I haven't played one of those for a long time.
Oh, I hope it's true. Another thing, Brent, you should get that came out this week, actually. I shared one of them with you. It's Naruto. It's a fighting game, kind of like Street Fighter, but I'd say wait for Street Fighter if you want a fighting game, which comes out next week. Dying Light brought out the enhanced all DLC plus season pass version this past Tuesday. So you get everything with Dying Light.
Wow.
And if you have Amazon Prime, they give you an extra 10% off. So if it's $60, I believe you pay $47 plus tax, obviously. So it's like $52.
Wow.
So
I saw something that related to World of Warcraft. There's a possibility. It's nothing set in stone yet, but there's a possibility everybody that purchases tickets to the movie will get a free copy of the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and with the expansions and everything, I don't know, it's popped up in my Facebook feed today.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I might buy a ticket just to get a free game. $11 for all of the World of Warcraft plus the stuff like that. Shit, I'll go to IMAX in the city and get that.
There you go.
As long as I'm guaranteed the game and I don't walk in and they're like, oh, we're sold out. Oh,
Right.
You cheeky people, you. Maybe it's opening night they meant.
Maybe. I don't know. I think there'll be more details in the days and weeks to come.
Indeed. All right, guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of all these updates. And are you happy the show's back? Because I know a lot of you guys have been asking me, and gals, when the next Chris and Brand show is. Well, here it is. Unfortunately, it's a lot of updates, but next time we'll have some more stuff to talk about. If you'd like to hear us, recap wrestling a little bit, if you'd like us to talk about wrestling in general, like over the past couple of months, or our thoughts in general of wrestling, we can do that as well. Obviously, we won't be talking about any specific events because we do episodes on that, but we could talk about wrestling in general. But yeah, so that's it. Take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting. Comment below your likes. Links in the description below connected to all the awesome things that Brant and I are a part of. Last Ember Press being one of them. Zone4Podcast.com, of course. Comic Frontline, of course. And Frontline Gaming Zone, which now I know how to stream off my PlayStation 4. Woo! Nice. So we might be having more fun now with Frontline Gaming Zone, and it'll be a lot easier to record, and things in quality will be better. So till then, take care, everybody. Keep reading, keep collecting. Brant, you have anything good enough?
No.
Nope. He's like, no. No.
That's it. That's our show.
We
love you guys. Thank you for watching. Yes.
We love them all. Brant wears like 20 different marriage rings for all the people he loves.
Go see Deadpool.
Yes. Deadpool, Friday.
And catch them all. And may the force be with you.
As always. The force flows very well through me.
We'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
No answer to that. Bye.